Well, welcome to summer 2016. You may be thinking to yourself, why in the world did I sign up for a Maymester? Well, let me tell you, I think this class is going to be a good experience for you. I know that for me, it's always a good experience to teach it. This is my first time to actually teach it in Maymester form, and so we're going to be learning together. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jim Archer, and I'm your instructor for Humanities 1301, an Introduction to Humanities. And I came from a small town outside of La Mesa, Texas, a little farming community called Klondike. And I was very much allergic to manual labor, and my parents were cotton farmers. And so I got to Texas Tech as soon as I could, and I did a double major in psychology and English. Ended up getting a master's degree in counseling, so I'm a licensed professional counselor. And I'm a psychology faculty member out at South Plains College and have been for the last 8 years, I guess. I was a counselor there on campus for a year before then, and then for the 8 or 9 years before that, I was foster care, both a caseworker and then eventually a national trainer and a director of an agency. And so that's my background is social work and counseling. I also have spent much of my time between all that doing music and being part of several different bands and playing guitar and singing, and so that's kind of one of my backgrounds. I love music. That's probably one of the reasons they asked me to teach this course. I have an English degree, so the literature, I was fortunate enough to take some great literature classes, but also some classes in film study and classes in poetry and some of the things that we're going to study this semester. And combined with my music background and my love for music, I think this was a good course for me to teach. I also enjoy studying religion, and I've traveled through India and Africa and studied major world religions, and hopefully be able to bring that to the table for you too, and us to be able to discuss and talk about some of those religions. So anyway, that's a little bit about my background. I live in Lubbock, Texas, and been married for almost 17 years to my smoking hot wife, Kelly. Got 3 kiddos, and they're all the way from 5 all the way up to 13. So my daughter actually turns 13 a week after this class. If you see me looking a little bit stressed, that may be why. But that's kind of a little bit about me. As far as how to contact me, the best way is definitely email. Of course, it's an online class, and so you probably assumed that. There is a phone number on the syllabus. Now, let's talk about where to find the syllabus. If you found this video, then you must have found the Start Here tab. On the Start Here tab, there's this video, but if you'll look underneath on the left side there on the home page, you're going to see a list of all the basic things that are important to you for the semester. It's going to have your quizzes and your discussion posts and your grades and things like the syllabus and the course calendar, which is also very important. So the syllabus is what you need to have right now. Hopefully you've pulled that up. And if you'll actually flip to page 3, the first 2 pages are basically some different type of regulations. We have to have them in there. But I'd like you to flip to page 3. On page 3 is where it starts with Mr. Archer's Introduction to the Humanities course information. So that's what's important to us today. So hopefully you flip to that in the syllabus. You'll note that I'm not going to be on campus during our time that we're meeting together. This is my office. I'm actually sitting in my kitchen right now. And so that's my office. You won't be able to meet with me face-to-face unless we set that up. There might be an opportunity to do that if there was a situation or circumstance that necessitated that. But for the most part, shoot me an email and get in contact with me. That phone number that's listed there goes out to the Reese campus. And although it'd be wonderful to leave a voice message, it's just going to be forwarded to my personal cell phone, which is fine. And I can call you back. Again, it might be just easier for you to shoot me an email with your phone number and tell me to give you a call. By the time you left the voicemail, it's the same difference. It's going to come in email form to me, that voice message will. So, as far as what you need for the course, really just one thing. That's 2 things. You need a reliable computer or a device that has good access to the internet. Of course, you're in an online class. And the second thing is you're going to need a textbook. Now, since this is an online course, your textbook is probably a little bit more valuable than it would be even in a face-to-face course. You're going to need that textbook in order to survive this class. We're basically going to take a chapter of the textbook a day. And if you don't have it, you're going to get left behind very quickly. So please make sure you've obtained a copy of The Art of Being Human, That is the Humanities as a Technique for Living, the 10th edition by Gennaro and Altshuler. And you can find it used. You can also use previous editions. If you do use a previous edition, you're on your own as far as information goes. But I've had many students that have used it and said it's worked just fine. So you're welcome to do whatever works best for you there. Your grading policy is the next thing I want to look at. You probably had courses for some of you that have been percentage, but for many of you, you've also had courses that have been a point total, a running point total. That's what we're going to have in this course, a running point total, and your grade will be dictated by the number of points you get. 599 and under, well, you've earned that magical F. Congratulations. If you get to 600 points to 699, you've got a D. 700 to 799 is a C. You're kind of getting the pattern here. 800 to 899 is a B. And then anything above 899 points, so 900 and up, is an A in this course. Now, I will let you know you will have the opportunity to actually get 1,090 points. I'm going to give you some, not necessarily extra credit, but what I call above and beyond credit, that if you want to kind of investigate some other topics, you can. And we'll talk about how you can use that above and beyond credit to your advantage here in a moment. Every day, something you need to know about for this course, you are going to have a discussion post and you're going to have a quiz every single day. So make sure you stay on top of those. Yes, I will give you several days to complete those, and I will also roll those out several days early so that if you're like me and you're someone that kind of likes to get everything done at the beginning, you can kind of get a head start. I was in an online class this summer and it drove me crazy because I had about 2 weeks I could really work, and then I was going to go travel a little bit. And they wouldn't open anything up until like the week of the actual assignment. And so when we get to that third week, I was on the road and trying to do it, and really wished I would have been able to do it those 2 weeks when I had all this time to work on it earlier in the semester. So anyway, I'm going to open up a lot of the class for you ahead of time, and you'll see after the first week or so, I'll start opening up several, even weeks all the way into the third week, stuff into the third week, so that you can work ahead of time. I know that may be important to some of you, but just know you'll have a discussion post and a quiz every day. Those posts, each one is worth 30 points, and each of those quizzes is worth 30 points. You can do the math. That's 450 points from posts, 450 points for quizzes. Where's your other 100 points come from? Well, that's a final exam, and it's just 100 points. Not that big of a deal, multiple choice. And we'll kind of talk about that more as we get closer to it, but it's just going to be the same as your quizzes, just more questions. You're also going to see the above and beyond participation exercises, and those are just, again, some little side projects that you can do and get up to 30 points per project. I've got about 3 of those lined out now, and I may add some. Let's say a current event comes up, or I see a new video that I think is funny, or maybe I'll watch a great cat video this summer, and I think there's some relevance to our course, then I might include that as an optional participation exercise that you could get points from. Now, the great thing about that, you get points for those participation exercises. That means that maybe later in the semester, if you get busy, you could skip over a discussion post or a quiz, or maybe even if you did all 3 of them, you might kind of avoid doing the final and actually get whatever grade you're trying to earn without taking the final exam. So I'm trying to give you some incentives to do some of those little side projects and to kind of go off on some different avenues of learning. As far as an attendance policy, obviously I'm not going to be taking attendance every day. The way we take it in a virtual classroom is, are you checking in? Are you doing your quizzes? Are you doing your discussion boards? If I don't hear from you for about 3 days in a row, and you haven't told me, hey, I'm in Malaysia, or whatever you're doing, then I'm going to start getting a little bit worried about you. Now, I can drop you from the course after you go for a certain period of time without connecting to our course. I want you to know that as an adult, you're in charge of dropping yourself, though. So don't just assume, okay, he knows that I'm traveling, there's no way I'm going to get this course done. If you're going to drop the course, please go ahead and drop it. Don't depend on me to do that. In a summer course, I have a very narrow window to drop you, and so once it passes that window, I can't drop you. So you'll need to take care of that yourself if you know that you can't complete the course. Our discussion posts, those are going to be every day, like I said, and they're going to be different prompts that I give you from the chapter. You'll have to read each chapter, hopefully read each chapter. It will really help. If you'll read the chapter, it will very much speed along your quizzes and discussion posts. My experience with my students has been, for students that don't read the chapter, they spend more time on the quizzes and discussion posts, and at the end, they're like, man, I wish I had just read the chapter. So Take it to the pool, put it beside your nightstand, do something, but try to make it through those chapters, and it'll save you a lot of time on the posts and on the quizzes. The discussion posts are going to be based on some kind of point values that I assign per post. However, about 20 points will be based on your initial post. About 15 points will be based on, about 10 points, sorry, will be based on your response to a classmate. Okay, so on most of those posts, you're going to be responding to a classmate. And when you do that, it's not just a statement of agreement or a sentence. It's generally, I want you to dig a little deep. I want you to use another term from the book, or I want you to bring some insight into it that might actually add to our conversation. I've mentioned the above and beyond participation exercises. Those are on a course calendar now. You're also going to see that I might add them, and if I do add another one, I'll put it in as an announcement. Your chapter quizzes, those will be 10 questions each. Very simple, straightforward questions for the most part. If you've read the chapter, you'll be able to fly through them. And let me give you another little clue. For many of the chapters, I do an intro video. And so if I do an intro video for the chapter, then oftentimes I actually try to drop off a couple of answers in that video so that you're held accountable to watching that video, and hopefully it gives you a reason to watch it. So for those quizzes, you'll have 2 chances at each quiz, and I'll take the highest grade. So I'm trying to make it as flexible as possible. Your final exam, like I said, it will be open book, open note, and just several more questions than your quizzes. There will be days when I travel and I'm out of pocket, and so I'll generally try to grade a little bit every day. You're going to find that there may be some posts that you don't hear back from me on your discussion post for almost 3 days. That's because I've got a couple of times throughout the semester that I am going to be traveling. So don't worry, I probably got your post. You're probably really set, so don't worry about it, but I will get back with you and grade those. On your discussion post, the grading, again, I'll give myself about 3 days. Generally, I'll get them done the next day. Quizzes, those are graded automatically. And your participation exercises, I'll take about 3 days sometimes to get those into you. As far as other communication from me throughout the course, you're going to hear that generally through the announcement section. So I would get in the habit of checking the announcements every day. I'll also give you a little key. Make sure you're using the South Plains College email that you provided the school, because that you're actually going to be getting contact. Those announcements will go out through email to you too. So make sure that you've done that. It'd be great if you had that email on your phone, make it even easier. Make sure you don't plagiarize. Plagiarism is taking someone else's work and using it for your own. Now, last semester I did have a problem with that. Not just taking stuff off of Google and Wikipedia like some of my students were doing. They were actually taking other students' posts and using that as part of their post. You can't do that, okay? That's vulturing your classmates' intelligence and their work. I would rather see your original thought than you vulture off your classmates. So you can use a statement from a classmate, make sure you cite them as a source, and then build off of that. But please don't just cut and paste their information as yours. I grade these, and I'm looking for that as I'm grading them. Late work, we're in a 3-week class. We do not have time for late work. If you missed it, you'll need to find a participation exercise and make up for it. But I will not be reopening quizzes. I will not be reopening discussion posts. When they're due, which is generally at midnight on whatever the due date is, then they're done. You missed it. Computer requirements and technology support. You will need to be able to have a very consistent and reliable online service, be able to get on and do all these assignments, obviously. That is up to you. So don't send me information about technology or things like that. That's up to you. Now I have on the left-hand side of the home page on that menu screen provided technology accessibility for those of you that might need some accommodations or you're having some trouble with the technology. I've provided some websites there for you to go to and hopefully kind of sort out whatever's going on with your problem with that technology. Yes, this is an online course, but I do expect you to act like humans. So make sure when you're making discussion posts that you're being respectful. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with someone, but just be respectful about the way that you do it. And in fact, some of those disagreements may be actually opportunities for us to learn a little bit more. Finally, I want to thank you for being in my course. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better, and I hope that you'll feel like I'm an approachable professor. Let's get this thing done.